So Frank Turk recently got asked some questions about evolution and what the best response is for the Bible. So let's get right into the video.
Talk about like a couple points on evolution.
Yeah.
And one other small thing about
Wait, evolution's not a small thing. Okay,
no,
so
that's the big one.
All
The
right, all right.
small one is why the Book of Enoch isn't included in the Bible.
Oh, I'm not an expert on the Book of Enoch, but I can tell you somebody who was, and that was Michael Heiser. Now, Dr. Michael Heiser died maybe 6-8 months ago, tragically. He had pancreatic cancer, but he does something called the Naked Bible Podcast, and they're still putting out, they've had archived podcasts on that. And when I was with Michael at a conference maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I asked him about that. I said, what do you think about the Book of Enoch? Because he was an expert in it, written a commentary on it and everything. He said, I think there's good historical information in the Book of Enoch, but I don't think it's inspired. It will help you, give you an idea of what maybe the New Testament writers were thinking, but he doesn't think it's an inspired text. Okay? Now, what about evolution? What was the issue about evolution?
Just if you could, it's not included in your presentation, so I just wanted to see if you had, like, what's your best evidence against evolution?
Okay, well, it depends on what kind of evolution you mean. If you mean micro, I believe in micro. Yeah. But if you mean macro, molecules to man without intelligent intervention, from the goo to you via the zoo, I don't think that's true, okay? And the reason I don't, it's not because the Bible doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think it's wrong to think in like certain evolutions and things evolve, but there definitely was a creator making these molecules evolve. Like God created something, that doesn't mean it could have been a process of things forming into a person or whatever, but I don't think it came from a monkey to a man.
Mention it. It's because I don't think it works. I think there's evidence against it. Let me give you 4 quick ways to look at the macroevolutionary issue. And it's in an acronym, LIFE, L-I-F-E. L stands for limits to genetic change. For example, we know, breeders know, that they can't break the genus of, say, the canine. They can breed all sorts of dogs, as small as a Chihuahua, as large as a Great Dane, but they can't break that genetic limit. If intelligent minds can't break genetic limits, why do we expect non-intelligent processes to do so? And by the way, they've done the same things about fruit flies. They've tried to modify fruit flies, and what do they get? They just get mutated fruit flies. And they're using all of their intelligence to do it. They can't break genetic limits. That's the L. The I stands for irreducible complexity, which Michael Behe made famous back in a book from 1996 called Darwin's Black Box. In Darwin's day, he didn't know what was in the cell. Now we know the cell is just a blizzard of complexity that is so interconnected and complex that you can't modify one part without shutting down the whole cell. All the parts would need to be modified at the same time to have any function. It's irreducibly complex. And so it doesn't appear that gradualism works. And as Richard Dawkins famously said, if we don't have gradualism, we're back to a miracle. That's irreducible complexity. The F stands for the fossil record.
Yeah. Richard Dawkins even said, if you don't have gradualism, we're back to a miracle. Ha! That's nice.
Gradualism works. And as Richard Dawkins famously said, if we don't have gradualism, we're back to a miracle. That's irreducible complexity. The F stands for the fossil record. The fossil record does not comport with gradualism. The fossil record, particularly the Cambrian explosion, which apparently occurred about 538 million years ago, according to their dating, was an explosion of 20 out of the 28 major body plans, the phyla, appear in the geologic strata just fully formed with no fossil precursors. Even Dawkins says it looks like they were just placed there. In other words, it comports better with a creation or intelligent design than it does a gradual process. If everything is ancestrally related and it went through all these transitionary forms, we should find millions of transitionary fossils, but we don't find them. And then the E stands for epigenetic information. Epigenetic information is the idea that you can't mutate DNA and get a new body plan. You have to have the structure change as well, and DNA doesn't change the structure. That's the epigenetic information. And this is a more recent discovery, and probably the best resource on this right now would be Stephen Meyer's book, either Darwin's Doubt or A Return of the God Hypothesis. Either of those 2 books will help you and expound all those areas, by the way. So limited genetic change, irreducible complexity, fossil record, and epigenetic information. And there are other reasons. I just don't think macroevolution works. And even if it does work, the very laws that drive it require a mind to drive it. So you're not getting rid of God, even if macroevolution is true.
Wow, so you're not getting rid of God even if macroevolution was true. That is so good. And it's just hard to imagine there to not be a designer. There's not to be a God who created the universe, who put this into motion and had a plan and purpose for every single one of your guys' lives. So I encourage you to really seek God. Ask God to show you who He is, because He loves you. I'm sure He wants to have a relationship with you, and He's longing to be with you each and every day. So I encourage you guys to look to God, and I pray and hope that you find Jesus, and through Jesus you will find God. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Have a great day.